What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is CringeyJesse, and this is another episode of Formula 123 My Career in the Cringey universe. We have had a string of bad luck, a string of rainy races and qualifying. The last race was not rainy, just bad luck. That wreck with Magnussen, and then my own teammate pulling out in front of me, causing me to spin around and wreck my car. But before we get started, as you can see, you are watching some practice runs because I did skip qualifying. I skipped qualifying because I have new engine components. I only really needed two, and that was the internal combustion engine and then the energy store. Those were the two that I really needed to change, and those were the two that gave me the 20 grid penalty. All the other ones I just went ahead and upgraded just so that I could have one fresh new engine going into today's race, knowing that I was going to start from the back. A good fresh engine hopefully would get me somewhat close to points, if not into the points. So yeah, definitely hoping for a good race today, knowing that I start from the back on one of the few more technically harder tracks for me in this game. But talking about technically hard tracks, let's look at some technically good upgrades that the field has been doing so far this season. As you can see, Red Bull has taken back the lead as the best car on the grid over Aston Martin and Mercedes right there in third place. But let's look at Haas. Haas having the fourth best car on the grid right now is something you would not see in real life. That is why it is part of the cringy universe here in Formula 1. Ferrari, their main engine supplier, because I know they both use Ferrari engines, behind them. Ferrari is now the sister team to Haas here in Singapore. Then McLaren and Williams and Alfa Romeo and Alpine. And then there's a big gap. Not a lot of those cars are close. Alpine is not close to Red Bull, but they're in that vicinity. You know what I mean? And then there's this gap where me, Cringey Racing, and AlphaTauri are just neck and neck, it looks like, honestly. AlphaTauri is still just slightly better than we are with the car upgrades so far this season. But speaking about Alpine and being so close but last in the vicinity of the better cars on the grid, Alpine is also the team that Esteban Ocon drives for, which is my rivalry at the moment. Now, like I said, I'm skipping qualifying because in reality there's no point. I'm going to be in last by the end of it, and I want my engine to be as fresh as possible going into this race. And there goes my practice. But going into this race and going further past this race. And there it is. These are the points. Like I said, technically after qualifying, Esteban Ocon with a 27 points. A 17-point lead over me. All we have to do is get to 30, and there's only one race remaining. And I don't think that's talking about this race, or this weekend. I really think it's talking about the next weekend. However, it doesn't really matter because, let's be real, with the way my luck is going, I'm pretty sure it's going to end this weekend. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the race. Welcome back, everybody, to a wonderful weekend of Formula 1 racing. We have no idea what the starting grid is going to look like here in Singapore, but what we do know is that we are in last place. However, with that much known, let's get to the starting grid. Here you have Charles Leclerc and Hamilton in the front row, Sainz and Verstappen, Russell and Perez, Norris and Alonso, Ocon and Gasly, Alpine once again completing the last row of the top 10. We've got Magnussen, Bottas, Albon, Hulkenberg, Piastri and Lance Stroll, Guan Yu Zhou, Yuki Tsunoda sharing a row again. Sargent and De Vries, and Cringey Racing sharing the last row on the grid. Jamie Chadwick 21st, me, myself, and I in last place. And that is your starting lineup. These are your starting lights as they all light up and all go away. Off we go. Coming down to the first turn, as I always do, I look for that diving hole, but Nick DeVries has it closed up on one side, Jamie Chadwick has it closed on the other side, and Sargent's just sitting in the middle. Chadwick does make the pass on Nick DeVries, no longer the second to last place, as I am trying my best to get in front of Nick DeVries, hoping that me and her both can make some more passes as the race goes on. I thought about a dive right there, but decided not to because the last person I want to take out of this race is my own teammate. Even though these past couple of weeks she has been in the back, so have I. That's not going to help us at all. Nick DeVries trying something on the outside, but it's just not going to work as I squeeze him out barely. I do decide to go for a dive up the inside right here, doing my best not to touch my teammate, Jamie, because like I said, the last person I want to take out is my teammate. Going around the outside, side by side, I finally get in front of her now to chase down Zhou Guanyu. Just a little further down into this lap, I do make a dive on Zhou Guanyu, and probably the most dangerous part of the race. Doesn't really complete because I forgot how sharp that turn was, but with no DRS, I'm going to use my ERS and make the dive right up in here, hunting down my other American driver, not my American driver, just the other American driver on the grid, Logan Sargent, who's all the way up in P18 with his Williams. Skipping up to the next lap, same spot. I thought about the dive right there on Logan Sargent, but I remembered exactly what happened on the last lap. Doesn't really help me much, so I decided to tuck in behind him, using my ERS once again to try to catch up, and I went for a dive once again down the inside. I shouldn't have gone for it, but I did go for it, and I did pass Logan Sargent right here. As Logan Sargent actually decides to come back on me, I make another dive on Logan Sargent, trying to remind him who the best diver in Formula 123 is, and that is me, not him. It is I. Couple of laps passed now, as I'm finally catching up to Lance Stroll here on lap 5 in the same exact spot. Knowing not to go for the certain dive, I stay with that DRS, using my ERS, and I did the same exact thing I did to Logan Sargent when I shouldn't have, because my tires, even though it's only lap 5, my tires have been slipping and sliding. Don't know what is up with this track and tire wear, but it is not loving my cars. I do get past Lance Stroll back there with that dive. Now looking towards to Yuki Tsunoda, pretty darn close. Hulkenberg up into P15, and that is my goal at the moment. I would love to get points because my team desperately needs points so that we can get more money and upgrade the car just a little bit better. Once again, here on lap 6, same exact spot, knowing not to dive right down there, but I'm going to have that DRS and ERS to catch him by the end of this straight, because this turn right here has become the overtake spot for me in this race, as I did it to a couple of people before this as well. It's just satisfying, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just easy, as we do get that overtake on Yuki Tsunoda up into P number 16. Chasing down Nico Hulkenberg of the Haas, who, like I said before we started this, they have the 4th best car on the grid. Not exactly sure why one of them is all the way down here, but you know, Aston Martin also has, if I'm not mistaken, the 2nd best, and Lance Stroll struggling in P18. If it came to the Haas guys, I'm just saying, my opinion, I would think Magnussen would be back here, because I feel like Nico Hulkenberg is better than Kevin Magnussen, but who knows, maybe in the Cringey universe it is vice versa. And skipping a few more laps, once again, we're here on lap number 11. I have gone way further than my stint was supposed to be, as a couple of other people have already boxed. I'm now in P10, looking to finish this race in points, and my luck has struck again. Call it what you like, anger, rage. I'm going to stick with rage, because I was just smashing that X button after that. I was so mad that I DNF'd once again after what looked to be a good race coming from me and for my team, as Carlos Sainz is your Singapore winner, Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen finishing out the podium. Then you have Russell, Hamilton, and Norris, Alonso, Ocon in P8, Pierre Gasly, and Valtteri Bottas. Now, this is just a picture, because I didn't scroll. I just took a picture, scrolled later. Sergio Perez also did not finish this race, so that is not going to help him close that gap to Max Verstappen, as he was in 2nd place, probably still is. And in fact, he is. Max Verstappen still in 1st place with the Drivers' Championships. Sergio Perez in 2nd. 32 points behind now. Charles Leclerc, 41 points. Lewis Hamilton just squeaking above the 50s. He's 54 points behind now. And now we have Sainz, Russell, Alonso, Norris, Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas in your top 10. Like I said, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, P1, P2 for the race, definitely trying to close that gap to Max Verstappen in first place. We've got a couple of races left. I do think that it is possible, at least for Sergio Perez, if he can finish the races in front of Max Verstappen, and if Max Verstappen slips and slides his way down the order. Now looking at your constructor standings after the race, Red Bull still leading, Ferrari now in second. It was Mercedes, but it's now Ferrari. Ferrari's in second, behind 93 points. Mercedes dropped down to third, Aston Martin in fourth, McLaren, Alpine, Alfa Romeo no longer tied with Haas, who has 44, Alfa Romeo P7, Haas P8, AlphaTauri 28, still no points since they've gotten there. Cringy Racing still at 8, Williams still at 6. I really need to start getting some points because time is running out and I have to be P8 to get that bonus from my sponsor. And I just don't see it happening. At this rate, I don't see it happening. I need at least 20 points. No, 30 points. I need 30 points. 40 points. I can't do math. I cannot do math. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit that like button. If you can't wait for the next video, please hit that subscribe button. Either way, doing one of those two things definitely helps my confidence in making these videos, and that's all I really care about. I enjoy making these videos. They're going to come out either way. But I do really hope you enjoyed, and until next time, I will see you then.